Good evening, folks, and welcome to tonight's stream where we are carrying on with our slot saving. So, without any further delay, let's get some stuff open, shall we? Now, what I have done is to show that our slots are actually saving. We are coming in here, loading the slots. We are checking which one is the current save slot, and we're printing it out. Okay? And further to that, right, we are looking at our main menu. Let me just bring this up. Okay. So in our main menu, if we look at the graph, okay, what we're doing is when we create a slot, we check to see if it exists first. Then we set all the other slots to be not current game. Okay. Then we create a new slot, we save it, and we set it as it is the current game. Okay, then we set the current save slot and we save it to our game instance with the slot name. Okay, so with that in mind, we should actually be able to start filling in our slots when we bring this up. Okay, now I'll show you it working. So if I press play, we get new game 2. So that's our current save name that is the current game. Okay, shouldn't have done that. Right, so new game 2 is our current game. If I click new game, and we'll call this test game, let's say 3, we create that. Okay, and then we stop it. Okay, we'll worry about this later. If I press play, now our current game is test game 3. Okay, so we can see that that is working. Okay, now let's have a look at this. Okay, for some reason isn't doing it anymore. Now, what we've now got to do is do something with the load game. Okay, so now that we know we've got a save game, okay, we can now enable this button. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for button continue, and I'm going to find any references to it, and then we're going to fix it to find out where it's disabled. Okay, and it's obviously on this toggle continue button. Excuse me. So it's doing this. Now we are already doing this, right? So in theory, we can just set this to is visible, right? So I could just copy that, okay? Now what I am interested in is finding out where this is called. Okay, so it's in our event graph somewhere, so we'll pull that up. And this one as well, because this is the next one we're going to do. Okay, so this is on event construct. Initialize button styles, load user settings. Now the problem here is actually we're not even going to do that, right? We're just going to set that to there. We're going to remove that, right? We're going to go to here. Okay, so what we're going to do is in here now at this point this is empty, okay? So we've got to get the length and if it's greater than 0 branch paste. Okay, okay. Now actually we're going to have to get this and that goes in there. Okay, so that means that we've got a save slot that has been created. Okay, now we're obviously creating the save object, right? But that doesn't mean we've got a save slot at this point. So we need to make sure that we've got an actual slot first. Okay, so the length of this array has got to be greater than 0. So if we press play, we've got continue. Okay, and the next thing we do well, we could say there's two logics to this. okay, we could say if it's greater than 1, then you've got a choice basically. If you've only got 1, then you can only continue. You don't really want to load, right? So in actual fact, we can say 1 here, right? So that gives us a choice. And now we can basically do the same thing. But we can do it with the load button. Okay, so we can say load. Okay. That can go in there. We can duplicate that. I will be doing a bit of tidying up on this begin play function in our controller. So now we should have load as well. But load is, I think this might actually be just enabled. Right, because it's always visible. So I'm going to try that. This is the fun of working with marketplace assets. And amending them to your wishes. Okay. Press play. And there we go. So our next port of call is going to be load game. Okay, now it's not going to look like this. Okay, so we're going to stop that for now. And we're going to go back to that later. Okay. So we do know that if we press new game, we know where that takes us, right? But we don't want it to take us there. Okay, so we go into here, and it's this active widget index. Okay, so what we need to do is create basically the same thing again. And we've got our slots thing here. Okay. Now our new game panel is actually on the widget switcher, right? So you'll see we've got main panel, new panel, option panel. Right, so what I want to actually do here is select that and duplicate it. Okay, now our options panel is going to go above it, and our new game panel is going to get changed about a bit. Okay, so this is going to be load game. Okay, and we are going to have a uniform grid here, but we're going to probably wrap it in a couple of canvas panels so that we can get a scroll bar on it. Okay, but in the meantime, right, that's the widget switcher slot. Right, we really want to, tell you what, we want to rename this so that we're not getting confused. Okay. We've got this slot container. Okay, so we're going to not do that. Although, maybe not such a bad idea. Don't know about that. Okay. So what we could do is do something like that. Actually, that's a bit big. We make it 350 either way, that'll be better. Right, so at least we've got a bit of a gap top and bottom. Right, so we've got this slots container. Is that the one we just did? Right, so this is vertical box. Right, and this is just going to get as big as it needs to probably. Okay, we'll do that in a second or two. But we've got this uniform grid. Okay. And we're basically going to delete that. and that. We're going to leave that, and we've got our uniform grid, and that's that. Okay, now we could actually swap this out, or we can do this a couple of ways. We can swap this out, right? Or we can swap this for another vertical grid, okay? Or we can use this as uniform grid, okay? So normally in these circumstances, what I would do here is I would say UGP underscore save slots. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to add each individual slot to the uniform grid. Okay, so you can see here we've got a save slot ready to go. So if we go back to our thing here, okay, we'll go to our event graph. And I'm not sure if this is the load game or not. Okay, we're not going to worry about that. Right, here's the button load game. This is hovered or not. This is show options. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is we've got this toggle load button. We're going to delete that, and we're going to say we're going to add a function. Okie doke. Load slots, right? And it's going to go in save slot. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to say controller, get the controller, ref, get save slots, saved object, we're going to get slots, right? Then we're going to say for each now I might end up doing this in reverse order, won't really matter, right? And for each of these we're going to create W widget and W save slot. Okay, then we're going to get our UGP save slots, and we're going to need a local variable here, and it's going to be row count and it's going to be a integer, and we're going to set it at the start to 0. Now, as I said, we could just did this. Hi, Storm Run Gaming, how are you? Right, so what we're doing now is we're going to add child to uniform grid. Okay, the content is going to be save slot, and we're going to get a row count, and it's going to be that row. Okay, and then we're going to get the row again. How are you tonight, Storm Run Gaming? And we're going to increment this. Okay. Now, we are going to add some data to this. Okay. Because we have got our save slot, right? We're going to delete that. We're going to delete that. Okay, in this text box, let's go 25 on that. We'll see how that looks in a minute. Right, and we're going to say txt. This is actually going to end up a button, but let's not worry about that for now. Actually, let's worry about that for now. Right, so what I'm going to do is this text, I'm going to put it there, except I can't apparently. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to delete that. Right, and we're just going to add a text in here, and that will do us. Right, and this is just going to be txt slot name. That went a bit wrong. So that's txt slot name. Okay. And we'll just add, yeah, it's already got a slot name. So what we'll do is we'll make this expose on spawn. Okay. Save that. And then when we construct it, we'll get this. Set text. Text. And that's going to be our slot name. Okay. So that's all well and good. And the next thing we're going to do, apart from saving it, is we're going to go back to here. We're going to get our array element. We're going to break it. We're going to refresh that. And we're going to pass our slot name in. Okay. Right. The only thing we've got to do now is switch about two different things. Right? So this is 0, 1, 2, and load panel is 3. Okay? So new game is fine. Right, that takes us to a new game. Load game does not, right? So we need to look at this, and this has got to change to 3. Okay. And that's all we need to do, I believe. Let's have a look and see what we've got. Hi XPM, how you doing? Right, so load game, not looking good. And that's because we're not calling it, of course. Alright. As you can see, so we need to call this function load slots. Right, we'll let it do its initialize input thing. Right? And we're still not loading slots. Okay. Let's take a look. It would appear that we don't have the controller yet. I have no idea, XPM. Right. Let's go here. We've added breakpoint so we can check it out. And I'm guessing this is nothing. No, it is. It's not got that yet though. Okay, this is where things are pain in the butt. Alignment, align right. Right. So what I'm going to have to do here is go back to here. No, that's wrong. We go back to here. We delete this. We move that to there. We save it. We actually do this event graph. And a bit silly. How can I make auto sprinting without clicking shift key? I don't understand the question. Do you mean that you always sprint or something else makes you sprint? How do you want it to work? Right, so this would be load slots. Right, now this is getting to be not ideal. But it should work at this point. In fact, it should have worked at this point. Oh, you just change the movement speed in your player character. Let me show you. Right, have I got this set to 1.3? I think I have. Yeah, I have. Right, in your pawn, if it's the pawn you want it to do it with, right, you'll have a movement, character movement, right? And if you just come down here and you just say maximum walk speed and set it to 600, or if you want it super fast, put it to 1000. Job's done. Right? Simple as that. Just make that faster. Okay, max walk speed. Right, so let's try that again. Right, we've got save slots this time. Right, load game, and there we go. 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now, as I said, we want this in a scroll box. Okay. So, no worries, XPM. I think I deserve a subscribe for that. For the simplest bit of help ever. Right, so this load slot container, it's not the actual slots, it's this one here, and this is going to go, and I'm going to wrap it with a canvas panel, right, and then I'm going to wrap it with a scroll box. Okay. And we're going to muck about with this in a little while. And we're going to do that. We're going to set that. Thank you, XPM, that's very kind of you. I was just joking, but it helps. Every little bit helps. Okay, so where are we now? Well, let's have a look to see if we've got our thing in a scroll box, and I don't think we will yet, right? There's always hope. And it's disappeared altogether, which isn't a big surprise really. Right, because you've got to kind of get this in the right order. Right, in this canvas panel, no padding, blah de blah. Right, you can see there is a scroll box here. Right, now we might need to set this canvas panel to a certain size. And we may need to do a little bit of jiggery pokery here on this, but we'll see. I'm going to press play again. I'm going to remove this breakpoint. Then we're going to resume. Load game. As you can see, we have neither a scroll box nor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to get rid of that. Then I'm going to get that. I'm not going to do that, I'm going to undo that, right? I dropped that in the wrong place. So what we're going to do is try and drop it in the right place. Then we're going to get rid of that again. We're going to save it. Then we're going to press play again. Now, I don't know if that's a scroll box yet, right? What I'm going to have to do here is here, I'm going to have to go down to the style and tell it that we always want to see it. Okay? Always show scroll bar. Okay? So if we press play again, there's a scroll bar. So it is in a scroll bar, right? So that's cool. But the problem is that problem here is this kind of isn't set up very well, right? What we need is for this UGP or the scroll box for that matter to be a certain size. Okay, now there's a couple of ways we can do this. Right? And let's wrap this with a size box, right? And our size box is going to have a minimum height of 500. And that's a bit on the big side. right? As I said, I'm not, because I'm using another widget here from somebody else, it's not ideal. You see, this is moving with it, right? Because the border isn't great. So I don't actually want it to size to the content per se. I kind of want this to be static, but you see, I mean, that works. Right, but it looks like crap now. Right? It works, but it looks like crap. But we're going to fix that, okay? And we're going to fix these buttons because that's no longer create, that's actually load. Right, and that's still going to be back, but we'll sort that out, and we'll sort out this scroll bar, and we'll sort out these buttons. We'll do that in 2 minutes time when I come back from having a cigarette. So, while you guys are waiting for me to return, hopefully you'll wait. Check out the description, there's links to the Discord for Groenland, my personal Discord, Patreon, and my previous game on Steam. And if you check out my YouTube channel as well, there's a trailer that I put up for the game. I only put it up about 2 hours ago as well. So I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Okay guys, we are back. Hopefully you are still there, Solon. If you are, hello. How are you doing this evening? And what we're going to do now is we're going to sort this crap out. Right? This slots container is a vertical box. Okay? Which is fine. Except right, if I do this, right? Right, so it puts it in the center. Okay? Now, if we do not, right, so we have to size it to content, right? That doesn't do anything. That's not going to do anything. Right, so we'll put that back as an image, right? So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to wrap this with a canvas panel. Okay? And then I'm going to put the slot into there. Okay? Then in our canvas panel, we're going to set it to center. And then we're going to say 300 by 600. Now, delete that. Back in here. Now, why is this not inside the canvas panel? Okay, this is the way with these things. So this one is not going to size the content. Right, and now we've suddenly got right, we're going to say 0 that again. And we're going to say 450. Okay, and then this is going to size the content. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to drop an image in here. Okay, and our image is going to be the full thing. Okay, and it's going to come from our UI textures and images. And the point of the matter here is we can get it from here, right? We can copy that, alright, and it's down at the bottom here. Right, where are you, Mr. Image? Paste that in, and there we go. Right, so now we can make this as big as we want. Right, now we're better doing it. That's the actual image. Right, now we get this canvas panel, and now we do the same. What we do is we pad this one. Okay, so we can say offset left 150, right, but we can get that back. We can say 100. We can try 150. And we go 150 there. Right? But we can save that, and let's see. Okay, so if that's the size of the content, right? So let's see how this is actually centered. Right, and this should be 0.5. 0.5. Okay. So what we need is this canvas panel to be a bit bigger. In fact, let's make it 600 by 800. Save that. And now we can check it out. And that's way too big. Or at least this is getting too big. for whatever reason. Right, because that's sizing the content. Okay. So this must have, well, it doesn't necessarily have padding on it. Although having said that, this has got a size box on it. We don't necessarily need that. The only things I want to see here are the things that are actually is that height override. So that there. Right, okay, so right, this is going to be, actually no, we'll do it this way, right? Right, 300. It's not going to be that. Say from top 200. Right, is that going to fix it in place? Nope. It's getting too big. Okay. Whatever. Got load game panel. So that is a canvas panel. Right, but that's the full size one. Right, this one. So I should just be able to do that. Right, and delete that. Okay. Then we've got this canvas panel. And that should work. Right, because this slot thing should be inside. Right, but it shouldn't. Well, it should size the content, but Let's do that. Okay, right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to wrap this in a size box. I always have fun with these. Right, maximum width, maximum height. Right, so we're going to say 500, but that's too wide, so 300, that looks about right. 500, a bit too big. Let's say 475. Right, and then in our size box here, we can say 300. We could even go 325. Seems a bit right. Stop that. Save it. Play. And there we go. Okay. And now what we want is, we've got our slots container, which is a vertical box, right? And inside here we've got our UGP slots. Slot padding, we can set that to we can say bottom 5, I suppose. I will leave that right at 5 because that's, I think, for to give you space for the slider. Okay. And now the only thing we've got to do now is go to our main menu, widgets, go to our save slot, go to our designer, border, then wrap that with a canvas panel, then basically zero, zero. Okay, then we go to here, we save that, right, and we don't do we want the on the left? Not 100% sure. Let's have a look. Okay, so we're not getting our border now. for some reason. Button shouldn't really have any padding, but we're not going to worry about that. The fact of the matter is we don't actually really need a border there. All we need is a button. How do I stay committed to continue working? Just by getting on with it, really. Streaming helps, because if you're going to stream, then basically you've got to commit to at least, well, if you stream, let's say you commit to streaming 2 hours a day, let's say, right? Then that means that you're gonna do 2 hours a day minimum, right? So you're gonna make progress, right? And if you make progress, then you'll just continue on. And you'll gradually, if you check my previous one, I actually did it as a bit of a laugh. And I ended up with a game after a certain amount of days. Just because I kept doing it, right? I just kept, basically just kept going. Just kept a couple hours a day. It was a bit more than a couple hours a day, mind you, but right, we're going to do a bit of padding here. On the left, 25. Probably a bit more than that. Probably even a bit more than that. That might end up off when I actually bring it in. You just got to keep at it. What can you do? So that's getting better. Still not brilliant, but getting better. I'm just wondering if this extra padding will actually do it here. But there's still too much padding between them. I mean, that works now, right? But it is a bit wonky. I'm just wondering if it's also easier to stay committed if you're making progress, okay? It's a heck of a lot easier also to keep doing it if you're constantly making progress. Which, at the end of the day, if you're continually doing it, right? You probably haven't seen what actually works in this game. One of the things that I always end up mucking about with is widgets, right? But the likes of this, right? The way I go about it is I start with an idea for how I'm going to like format the menus, and then I gradually make it better and better, right? Until I'm completely happy with it. I won't stop until it's perfect, as far as I'm concerned. And that's the way I do it. Right now, for some reason, I think I know why this is. Right, I think it's cause this scroll box, see this 325, it's forcing it to space out these into the whole thing, right? If I put this to 0, right? In fact, I'll probably be best taking that box out altogether. Right, you'll notice that that's screwed it all up now, right? So I'm going to take that scroll box and I'm going to move it to there, right? So that it's not interfering Well, I'm glad you... Well, I hope you got something out of them, right? That's the only thing I can say. And don't be afraid to ask any questions. Or give advice. Right? So that is not good. So this scroll box is going to have to get wrapped in a canvas panel. Right, now that canvas panel is going to have to be like that, and then our scroll box is going to have to fill it. Right, then save that and go. Gamepad vibrate. Okay, I have no idea, but let's see if we can work it out. Once I press this button to load. Right, there we have our games. Now we've still got padding in between, but we can deal with that for the moment. It's looking okay. We've got a problem with this create button. These aren't taking up the right amount of space. Probably what I should do is wrap these just change the size of the text really. I just need to put a scale box in them, right? So the way that I would first look Screen Apple would be this. I would go into here, then I would go to project settings, now I don't know this isn't going to give us the answer, right? But it will give us a clue, maybe. Right, so let's say gamepad. Okay, so what we got now, this might not be possible unless you've got, I can't remember if it's Xbox or PlayStation, but there's special SDKs for them, or like plugins for them, and you need to apply for them now. I don't know if that's the case. Right, let's see. Gamepad options button. Selecting that. If we go non-context sensitive, it might give us something else. Another one, the simple one, would just be type vibrate. No. Go to gamepad. See, these are gamepad inputs, right? It's gamepad key, gamepad control. Hey Helder Ramos, how you doing, bud? Right, I would have to Google that. And as I said, it might be a special add-on bit of SDK for Unreal Engine. Make controller vibrate UE 4. Okay, it's force you play force feedback event. Okay, so it's play force feedback. Now, I don't know what this is, but it appears that this is what you use. Right? It's actually not that one. It's play dynamic. Possibly not. Well, whatever it is, right, it wouldn't actually be in here. You'd have to go into here, into your player controller, or have a reference to your controller, right? So get player controller, and then this would be play dynamic force feedback. Okay, and there's your intensity and duration. Okay, so you would basically start it and stop it. So depending on how you wanted it to do it, in the actual game or in the menus, right, you would like, probably what you would do here, right, is you would set up a function, right? So you'd have this in a function. So I'm going to copy that, right? And I'll show you what I would do under the circumstances, right? So I would save that, right? We are in our thing here. Now I'm going to give you an update if it actually does vibrate, because I've actually got a game controller plugged in at the moment, right? I've got a PS4 controller plugged in. So what I would actually do here is I would create a function, right, called let's call it something completely different, like vibrate controller. Okay. And can I do this in here? Yeah, probably. You might have to do this as a custom event actually, because I can't do... Right, tell you what, easiest way to do this is I would just do start vibrate, right, and then I would do another one and it's going to be called stop vibrate. So I would just get, this is the player controller, so we'd get self, right, and then we'd say play okay, you're going to be like that, are you? Right, so we'll just say get player controller even though it's actually self, right? But so I would say play dynamic. Why is it not letting me do it now? Just tell me, right, this is all because it's a function, right? See, the functions you can't do time stuff, right? And because this has got an update on it, then it's time stuff. So that's why it's not letting me do it, right? So I'm just going to undo that because I just deleted important code, right? So we're going to say that, right? And we're going to say custom event, right? So we're going to add a custom event and we're going to call it start vibrate. Okay. I'm going to say get, what's going on? Get controller. Dynamic force feedback. How long the force? Right, so you can just basically set this then. So I could set this to 3 seconds, right? And then just click start. I don't even need to do anything else, I don't think. Right? And then what I could do is we could set up a key, right? And we'll say key number 5 for no particular reason. And we'll say vibrate, start vibrate. Okay. And I'm going to report to you if my controller begins rumbling across the floor, right? My controller did not rumble across the floor. Just going to make sure that actually happened. Right. Yep, it did. Step over. Step into. Oh, the intensity is 0, so it's not going to do anything. I'm wondering what this should be. I'm going to say 0.5 just in case 1 is like a big number and it goes mental, right? I don't know if this will work or not. It's just this is just a bit of goof about to see. Okay, nothing happened. But apparently that's how you do it. Now I don't know if this... Yeah, valid values are between 0 and 1. Affects right... Huh? Right, we'll just... Right, stop that now. See, this might not... Right, we'll do that, right? And we'll set this to 1. Because if you set them all, it might actually not rumble at all because basically it's cancelling everything out, right? I don't know, but I'm just guessing. Right. Well, it's not doing anything. I'm going to pick up my joypad and see. Okay, so we're checking this again. And I don't even know if this is configured properly. Right, for some reason Steam just popped up because I started mucking about with the controller. Right, but it's still not actually doing anything. Right, but apparently this is how you do it. Right, it's this thing here somehow. Whatever. You might have to actually put it on a timeline or something. Right? I don't know. I'm wondering if it's even completing, you know? I mean, we could right, so we'll put a print string in here, right? And we'll check to see if it actually completes. Right? Stick 20 seconds on that. Then we'll say rumble complete. And we need a capital there. Right? So we'll basically see if this actually does anything. And if it completes. Right? Save that. Right. Press 5. Resume. Well, it did do something. So I'm guessing that it's something to do with the configuration in the gamepad, right? Now, the interesting thing here is it does know about a gamepad, right? And I'll show you why, maybe. If I go to project settings, right? And I go to input, okay? And I say move forward is also going to be, right, on the gamepad. Right, now it should be on the Y. Game thumb pad left, Y axis. Okay? And we'll stop that. Right, we'll go to our test map. And what I'll do is, I promise, I'm making a promise here, I'm not going to touch the keyboard, okay? I'm going to use a PS4 controller. Right? So, we're going to go to maps. And we're going to press play. Right, now, I'm going to press, there you go. Right? So it does recognize the controller, but it isn't sending rumble to it. Okay, so that was me playing with a controller there. But as I said, it doesn't. I'm just having a check here to see what they're saying on Reddit. But other than that, there is a few videos on it, by the way. Manage controller vibrations, Unreal Engine 4, adding 4-speed back rumble in Unreal Engine. So there is stuff out on it there. It's just something I've never done, but it seems to be. I mean, it might, as I said, that might be for a generic controller or something. I don't know. So there you have it. So we'll go back in here, we'll delete that. That might be a little project for later to see if I can get that working. See what the issue is. Right, but for the moment, we've got our slots working. Etc, etc. So the only thing we need to do now, and I'm probably going to do this offline because we're just about there, right, is just to make these I don't need this create button. I just need these buttons to do something, which is basically to open the game up with this slot in mind. So what I'll do is I'll work on this later and we shall call it an evening. So I hope you've enjoyed the stream. I'll be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. Hit the like and subscribe, that would help a lot. Thank you, Sheldon, for subscribing. And check out the description for links to the Groenland Discord server, my personal server, my Patreon, and my previous game on Steam, which is available right now for $1, tower defense game. Check it out. I'll be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. Thanks for watching, and bye bye for now.